Hey, Jeff here. So I wasn't sure I was going to get another video in this week, and I wasn't sure what next week's going to hold because the family and I, most of us, are going out of town for Thanksgiving, and we are headed down to a couple days in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Anyway, if you watch this video and you know of any good places I should check out in Myrtle Beach, let me know. I did do a quick Google search. My wife did actually for record stores in there, and she found one that was listed in the area that had a lot of rave reviews and had lots of stuff and decent prices. So I'm sure I'll find some time, hopefully, to check out some stuff. But sadly, being on the road and out of town also means I'm not going to be able to take part in the Black Friday record store today because where I'll be on Thanksgiving and Friday will be not Myrtle Beach, but further north, heading towards home to stop at the in-laws' house for Thanksgiving. And they're into a town called New Bern, North Carolina, and there's nothing there. It seems like whenever I'm there and I, Google local record stores, it's more than, I don't know, close to an hour away. I don't know. I may check, but I probably won't be able to go anywhere. And so I wasn't sure I was going to make another one before I left, but then today we made it out to a thrift store, and I found some decent stuff. So we're going to rescue stuff from the thrift store. And this is my thrift store rescue video. Now, there were a couple things that came in, and I was holding off on doing this because I also had a couple other things that I don't get this. They were mailed, and on Wednesday, they land in Maryland, which is literally like 4 hours from here, 5 hours. And they've been there, sitting there, and they're not scheduled to be here till Monday. I'm like, I could have driven there and back by now. Nowhere Thursday, nowhere Friday. Then finally, yesterday, they said, hey, they're in transit. They'll be there on time. But, it's like they're just sitting there. So that was frustrating. So I was holding off because these are nothing major. But since I'm doing this video before a thrift store, let's talk about this. I got this in. I went ahead and ordered this on Discogs for a real cheap price. Fierce Heart, if you're not familiar with them, they were, 1985, one album, and disappeared. The reason I bought it was because now they're back and they got a new album out. And so I thought, well, let me go back and get the old one on vinyl because, I think I have it on CD is all I've got. Now, the significance of this band, at least for those of us in Christian rock, is 1985. This is the band that guitar player Rex Carroll was in. So this has got the shredding Rex Carroll guitars. Then in 87... he was in White Cross, 87, White Cross first album, and he's been in White Cross and doing that stuff, ever since, White Cross related. So he's most notoriously known in the Christian metal world as the guitar player for White Cross. And he's done a lot of other projects too. He's done a lot of blues stuff on his own. But anyway, so this is the band. I don't know the whole story, but this is the band before he was in White Cross. It's traditional hard rockin', metal of the day, 85. It's got his signature guitar sound and stuff. It's just good stuff, so I thought I'd pick it up before, it disappeared. And then this was another Amazon, just popped up on my Amazon list. It was down to $10, so I grabbed this. And it was just, it's a filler. I might as well get it. And it was brand new. It wasn't an Amazon deal as far as one of those warehouse deals. It wasn't scratch or anything, and the price dropped, so I grabbed it. So yeah, got a little bit of a little more Queensryche, Promised Land, and we'll go with that. Now, so I'm calling this the thrift store rescue. When I go to a thrift store, everybody, when you go to thrift stores, if you go to thrift stores, some people don't even waste their time doing it. If you go there, it's a lot of the same stuff. It's a lot of the same, the Percy Face and the orchestrated stuff and the soundtracks and all the older looking albums. Every once in a while you get there and you find, I start flipping, I'm like, oh look, you can tell the covers are more modern. It's like, this is not the standard stuff you tend to find in thrift stores. And I noticed, so I found a couple decent titles, and I noticed that the covers were kind of ripped on them. They had obviously gotten wet and stuck together. So you never know what you're going to find. Unfortunately, some of the ones I saw that were really, decent, not decent looking covers, but just I'm like, well, they had Jimi Hendrix, Jimi Hendrix Experience. No record inside. They had an older Rolling Stones album. No record inside. So that was frustrating. But so what I started noticing that the ones that had the covers, it looked like they'd been stuck together, were obviously from the same collection. And I started opening some of the ones and noticing the inside, even though they maybe need a little water, to be washed off. Most of them didn't even need that. They just looked like they've gotten wet. But They were in really, really good condition as far as the actual vinyl. And there was a lot of classic rock, and I thought, okay, let's get it. So, Pat Travers Band. Now, a lot of people talk about Pat Travers Band. Honestly, don't know if I've heard a lot of their stuff aside from the stuff on the radio, but anyway, I thought, hey, let's grab it. Pat Travers Band, Chase and Burn, and of course I flip it over and it's got Tommy Aldridge on drums, and he's my man. So I'm going to get me some Tommy Aldridge, and you can see, it's just a cover. They've been stuck together, stuck to other albums. But like I say, when I pulled out the record, this one you could tell it just has a little dirt from the water. But when I put out the record, they were shiny and unscratched and everything. Pat Travers, yes, grab it. Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. Got the Night Moves, got some of the hits on here. Again, and you can tell this guy obviously bought them used because it has a Record Exchange $2 price tag on them. And then when you pull them out and they're turned right side up like this, I usually use that as a sign that somebody took care of their records pretty decently. They didn't let them just fall out of the covers. And again, some of these are like, it's like, did he ever play them? They just look really good. And this one doesn't have much cover damage, but you can tell, it's got a little around the bottom here. Yeah, so we got some Bob Seger. And a lot of this is, classic rock stuff that usually I've never really purchased. So I'll pick them up at thrift store prices, because as I've gotten back into vinyl and as my classic rock section has grown to, I don't know, more than 100. When I say classic rock, it's all the stuff that's like not modern, not metal. And I've gotten a lot of stuff over there, and I find myself gravitating a lot more to that section. And I'm pulling out a lot more of the classic rock and pop stuff. It just, at times, has gotten a lot more attention. Diamantina Cocktail. Diamantina. Little River Band. This is one of their earlier albums. I'm not, title-wise, not as familiar with any of the songs. But again, this one was in, it's stuck here. But again, the inner sleeve, is nice. The album is nice. So, I'm going to rescue it. And then this was the first, actually I saw this one first, Little River Band. So, Lonesome Loser. This is when you're starting to get into the time frame when they started getting the hits. And again, little stickiness on the cover, but again, the record inside was just what I would call very good plus. Jackson Browne, The Pretender. And again, a little bit of cover damage, but the inner album, great condition. So, I know some of his songs. I have one of his albums that I won at a record store as a raffle, but I don't even think I opened it to listen to it. So I give it a shot and start listening to that. And, the old meme that's been going around on Facebook that I lost my pizza cutter, and so I used my Bryan Adams CD because it cuts like a knife. Dad jokes. Anyway, same thing. Little cover damage. Album inside, great condition. Pick up a little Bryan Adams. This is one of the worst covers. Okay, with actually the Jimi Hendrix and Rolling Stones, they were really bad covers, like half the cover gone, and this one is like that. David Lee Roth, Eat 'Em and Smile. It's kind of weird. This guy's got a lot of classic rock, and then you throw this in there. This was the most closest to my musical style than any other ones, and it was just interesting to find this in there. And it's really bad off. And the record itself is dirty. It needs cleaned. You could tell it's been in water. But again, the rest of it looked nice. So I already have this. I have a good copy. I'm going to pass this on. I have already asked somebody if they had it, because this would be something that somebody who doesn't care as much cosmetically, but the album is cleanable and sounds great. You might as well have this superb album. Now, okay, this is the only oddball one in here. And let me tell you why I bought this. Okay, do I want to show it first? Yeah, I do. Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. Now, you see Herb Alpert in the thrift stores by the dozens. And honestly, okay, I know the big running joke is everybody has whipped cream. Ever since I hear more and more people talk about, everybody has to own a copy of whipped cream, I feel like I kind of got to have one, but I've never seen one since then. I see every other album by him out there, but whipped cream. And that's the one that everybody has. I mean, was it Ron that has multiple copies? Some people just buy them. It's kind of like a running joke. So I feel like I want one, but I have yet to see one again in a thrift store. I see them in the regular record stores where they want a couple bucks for them, but I'm looking for the thrift store $1, $2 find. Now, the reason I got this, because I've never, ever, 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 ever seen this in a thrift store. 1969. Never seen it. The brass are coming. And so that struck me as odd. This is something I've never seen. The other thing that struck me as odd is it was in just superb condition. It's one of those cardboard covers, so it's already got that rough look. It's in great condition. It's a gatefold. And sometimes I rescue things simply because they are so beautiful looking. It's like somebody has to have this, right? And then I flipped it open and I opened it up. The original inner, that was in superb condition. And when I pulled the record out, you can't see it, but if I can get a glare on there. Look at the glare. See if I can get that light on there. Looks unplayed. Looks unplayed. Maybe it's a horrible album and nobody ever wanted to play it. We're going to find out. Yeah, it's a novelty, but honestly, it was a rescue because it was in my opinion, such pristine condition. Anyway, grabbed a couple things. Can't take them on the road with me, sadly, but, wanted to share that, and I hope we'll be checking in. I am going to check out some stuff when I'm in Myrtle Beach for the first couple of days, and then maybe be back with something next week from the road. Anyway, thanks for watching. Rock on.